Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues from all over the world, thank you for joining me today. It's my pleasure to be here with you and share this presentation and my insights on the role of the Project Support Office in rolling out a project management methodology within our organization. Before I start, let me tell you 2 words about myself, just so you know what is my perspective and experience in tackling this topic. I'm a professional project management consultant and trainer. I'm also the co-author of the PM Squared methodology, the Agile PM Squared guidelines, and the PFM Squared methodology for portfolio management. Over the past 10 years, I've been leading consulting projects at major EU institutions and the private sector, helping them improve in project management and roll out project management methodologies, PM Squared more specifically. The structure of my presentation is rather simple. I will start with introducing the problem with a problem statement. Then I'll move into the body of my presentation on rolling out a project management methodology and more specifically the role of the Project Support Office in achieving that. And I'll close with some lessons learned and tips and tricks. I've been very privileged in visiting and working with many organizations, talking to people, and I've identified that the challenges in dealing with project management are fairly common from organization to organization. They have to do with the coordination internally and externally with stakeholders. They have to do with the quality of the outputs of the project, but also the quality of the procedure. They have to do with the satisfaction of clients, of users, of stakeholders, but also the project team. They have to do with the effectiveness and efficiency of our approach, but also with ensuring that we achieve adequate value at the end of the project. Project waste and people stress are also a negative aspect of bad project management that is a challenge to deal with. And nobody said that projects are a ride in the park. This is almost never the case. But I've noticed that most organizations live in this very uncomfortable space of dealing with issues all the time, of firefighting, or of dealing with project crisis. This is a very uncomfortable space to be in, and we can either ignore it and continue doing what we do, perhaps after galvanizing our butts a bit to withstand the pain of the situation, or look at the problem in the eye and take some action. Project management is our weapon for this. The PM Squared methodology, the European project management methodology, developed by the European Commission, is my personal weapon of choice and the weapon of choice of many organizations across the world. The purpose of PM Squared is to enable project teams to manage projects effectively and efficiently for the purpose of delivering solutions and benefits to the organizations and their stakeholders. Every good project management methodology should be based on globally recognized project management best practices. PM Squared methodology is built on 4 important pillars: that of the governance, roles and responsibilities, a pillar of life cycle, the phases, what comes after something else, the processes, collection of project management activities, and the artifacts, templates that are provided to us as help for documenting all our project decisions and project management outputs. All these are complemented with a 5th dimension, the PM Squared mindset, which help us deliver solutions and benefits effectively in our organization by also having a sense of control and agility. If I had to use PM Squared in one slide to show PM Squared, I'd use these images. A life cycle of PM Squared, extended if needed with the life cycle of Agile, also being able to incorporate Agile practices. The landscape that the artifacts landscape that show us the various artifacts that are made available by the PM Squared methodology associated with each phase. A rich governance structure that also is extendable with Agile specific roles and responsibilities, and a responsibility assignment matrix that assigns a certain degree of responsibility for every single role in PM squared and for every activity or artifact discussed. The fifth element is that of the PM squared mindsets, which are reminders of effective behaviors that allow us to grow as a team, to have a common perspective in dealing with the complexities, not only within the team, but also across the organization. Do we need better project management? The answer is yes. Everybody can do with better project management. The question is whether we are too busy dealing with inefficiencies to be able to see or allocate the resources needed to come up with solutions. So we all agree that we need better project management, but we also know that it's more than just a decision. Of course, it starts with awareness of what the problem is, awareness that there is a potential solution called project management, interest in exploring this, and a decision in moving forward, having an action to implement our decision. Of course, as good project managers, we know that there's very often a gap between decision and action. So we devise a plan that implements a solution that is the solution to a problem, well defined at the appropriate level, so it is solvable and actionable. Increased project orientation is the solution. And the question is, how do we go about doing better project management within our organization? Not just one project at a time, but holistically for every project, for the whole organization. Project orientation, as the word implies, it is not a state. It is not a destination. It is not a maturity level. Project orientation defines a direction. It defines a strategy. It defines a compass that helps us move in the right direction after we have realized that projects are the most appropriate vehicle for packaging work, for achieving goals, for achieving project outputs and deliverables of high quality and doing that efficiently. So what is project orientation? We start by implementing methodologies and standards within the organization that are not only exists, but they are used and adhered to. A strong project governance needs to be in place. Acknowledgement of its value, but also adherence to the governance and the decisions made by it. A project-oriented culture is promoted because we know that culture eats processes for breakfast. Effective project management support services are in place to help projects with not only administration, but also with following this methodology in an efficient way. Organizational procedures need to be ensured that they are aligned with project management procedures. Corporate procedures such as risk management, quality management, procurement management procedures we need to ensure that they're not in any form or way in conflict with our project management methodology. Also, that relevant skills and competencies are recognized, and also there's a plan to continuously acquire them and reinforce them. And finally, a project management career path is established as a way of recognizing the professionalization of project management within an organization, particularly in non-projectized organizations. So do you speak project? Do you speak project management in your organization? Just because they're English words and you can find a definition in the dictionary does not mean that we understand these concepts the same way. What is a project? How do we define it? What is the process of managing it and moving forward with its execution? Agreeing on these terms is a starting point and extremely important, particularly in the special case of non-projectized organizations, where we're trying to achieve project orientation in a functional or matrix organization. So knowing what the parts of project management is extremely important. But just like the work breakdown structure is not enough for us to execute our project, and we need a plan, we need a schedule to do so, in a similar way, we need a methodology to help us with our project management execution. We need guidelines. We need guidelines on how to manage every aspect of our project. Just like an IKEA manual. The A methodology would help us ask and answer the important questions of project management. What needs to be done to manage this project? When do we have to do something? Who has to do what and how? What are the skills and tools and processes? And also, most importantly, why? Why do we need to do any of these things is important before we get people on board. Describing some of the problems in achieving this in 3D, I will define three management concepts: that of deficiency, loosely defined as the lack of the management skill, the project management skill needed, however, at a degree where it is not countable. We do not know what we do not know. Management deficit, defined as our knowledge of having not enough of something, in our case, management capability or capacity. And management debt, defining the concept of having moved forward despite of our deficit. Now, project management debt is defined as the sum of all the management infrastructure that should have been set up within the organization, but was deliberately, hopefully, deferred for later, as a loan from the future to now so we can move forward. If not acknowledged, it will turn into organizational design debt, as the ineffective ad hoc structures that have been put in place as temporary structures are slowly formalized and become permanent. If left unmanaged, the interest payments of our project management debt become so high that they will eventually degrade the organization's overall long-term value creation capability and potential. So how do we achieve? By knowing and by doing. Now, how do we package our knowing in a sequence of steps? Methodology can help us. How do we become efficient in doing? Support services will achieve that. So all these together will help us achieving our goals of project orientation and the results of that, which is better project management, better outputs, better results. Some common symptoms when there is a lack of these parameters. Projects are not initiated properly. They move forward without having them being defined properly or having the infrastructure needed to be in place to support their execution. Methodologies are not tailored appropriately or badly selected, but in any case, not used effectively. Critical success criteria, which define how we know that our project has succeeded, and critical success factors, the factors that need to be in place to increase the chances of project success, are not identified or are not managed effectively. Project quality assurance is not undertaken, resulting in low quality of outputs, or ensuring this quality becomes very costly. Project reporting is not uniform, and this makes portfolio level reporting extremely inefficient. And the result is that projects are optimized locally. Every project is trying to, by reinventing the wheel, optimize their management execution for themselves, leaving cross-project links and synergies not exploited or taken advantage of. Also, very little organizational learning and knowledge transfer takes place. Now, it's my experience that the involvement of a project support office in identifying these problems, but also moving towards a solution, is indispensable and also inevitable. Methodology rollout and project support office meet in two different ways. Scenario one is a project support office acknowledges the value of rolling out a methodology and moves in that direction. Scenario two, through the endeavor of rolling out a methodology, the importance of the existence of a project support office is established, and therefore it becomes an important output of this whole endeavor. The purpose of a project support office is twofold. On the one hand side, it provides project management support to the whole organization to the project managers and the project teams, but also, particularly in non-projectized organizations, I repeat, the functional or matrix organization, the role of the PSO is extremely important in facilitating the connection of the project layer, the project organization, with the permanent functional layers of the organization, as well as the program and portfolio levels when they exist. Now, you will notice that throughout my presentation, I've used PSO, the project support office, and not the project management office, to describe that office that provides all the services that need to be provided for project orientation. The reason is, for me, clear. It's a strategic choice that positions this office at the appropriate level so that projects and project managers who need support are not threatened or intimidated and go to the project support office to get the support services. PMOs sometimes come from a higher level of authority and expertise and become intimidating in being effective to offer these services to the projects and the project team members. So here are some of the many project support activities that I've identified. They assist in project initiation, which is the start of a project, extremely important. They help identify the critical success factors of a project. That is, help the project managers identify and manage those things that are critically important for the success of the project. They help manage also cross-project links and synergies, facilitating organizational learning and knowledge transfer. They are involved in the reviews and the project phase gate reviews and gates. They can also play a very important role in project quality assurance and help with performing health checks and help with the reporting, both at the project level, but also at the program and portfolio level when those exist. Also, they act as the owner of the project management process, of the project management methodology. So there's a clear ownership responsible for its maintenance and its continuous improvement. The PSO also acts as the owner of the project management information system when that exists and also provides support services for that tool as well. They assist critical function in the project and review meetings of the closing phase, very often underestimated in terms of value or skip completely phase in the project management lifecycle, helping to capture lessons learned and post-project recommendations that are extremely important for organizational learning. The PSO, the Project Support Office, ends up being in a unique position to recognize both the problem and contributes to its solutions. They can identify deficiency, deficit, and debt and help manage them by devising a plan to reduce them, by embarking on an organizational change journey towards increased organizational effectiveness. They become essentially a white knight's Trojan horse that, through their involvement and through the process of becoming more outcomes, more project-oriented, they inevitably help expose the deficiencies of the organizations and help with their experience move them in the right direction of better project management. So, congratulations. It's a program at the end. The rollout of a project management methodology is typically and should be managed as a program. And its success is not determined only on the quality of its project's outputs, but mainly on achieving its outcomes. So pay attention to the quality of the outputs, but also pay an even greater amount of attention to all the organizational change activities that are necessary to achieve the program outcomes. The secret behind the effective rollout of a methodology as an organizational change program is balancing the very important piece. We want to achieve performance. We want our program to perform. In order to do that, it makes sense for us to know the pre-program context. What were all the decisions, the discussions, the negotiations, the rejected ideas that came before our program came to exist? It also makes sense to know what happens after our project has been completed. The beginning of the effective definition of any project or program is identifying the problem, understanding and defining it well before we can move to explore well the solution space. Choosing and defining one project that will implement our solution through the release of several outputs, the product, is extremely important. We know that people will be working in the program, and their energy and creativity is what will make or break the program. So it makes sense to also provide a guiding vision for them, a purpose. Translate the program's goals into a vision that can become a guiding force, a compass for us, particularly in times of difficulty. People will need a plan, and they will need processes to help them with their daily activities. Those needs to be in place, but don't forget that people do not want to be slaves of plans and processes because they work for a certain level of satisfaction. They get joy through their work, and we need to ensure that they get the adequate amount of pleasure through them participating in the program, but also through minimizing the pain and the stress that they will inevitably feel through the process of organizational change, through the overtime that they will have to put in for the success of the program. So balance pleasure and pain, make sure that the processes and plans are in place to maximize efficiency and provide a guiding purpose. The participation of the stakeholders is extremely important for the success of a program. Make sure you get the right people involved for the right decisions, for the right activities. You will also need power to manage your program. Make sure you identify and tap into those sources of power that are most effective for you. Tap into a diverse source of powers: leadership, authority, sponsorship. Recognize that politics exists in every organization. Make sure that you identify the politics that can affect negatively or positively your program. Work for progress that is visible, progress that is released through the various stages of the program, and that is recognized and acknowledged. So equally important to the release of progress is also the perception of achievement for all stakeholders and also for the people involved in the program. It is a fueling factor that motivates people. Finally, make sure you achieve peace, that productive state of conduct that avoids excessive non-functional conflict, non-productive conflict, and passiveness. Make sure that there is a peaceful environment for people to be able to perform. In closing this presentation, I'd like to capture some lessons learned. Already, most of them I've alluded to. Ensure that in your approach, you have an outcomes-oriented strategy. Sure, the achievement of outcomes and benefits goes through the execution of specific steps and the production of specific outputs. But what is really important at the end is achieving the goals of every step and the goals of every outcome. Choose the right methodology. Make sure you use it first before you go on to tailor it. Use the experience of other people and follow the tailoring guidelines provided, and try to stay within the wider ecosystem of the methodology so you can tap on the consulting service, the training service, and the certification offered. Make sure you train everybody in the organization, even people that are not going to be working in projects, the business side. Create awareness about the benefits of project management. Certify and train key team members, the champions. The rest will follow. Provide support services, not authoritative control. Provide a project support office with people and services that are friendly and are not difficult for project managers to request and tap into. Don't ask or allow project managers to become slaves of the process or the project management information tools. Ensure that the right people are involved in the PSO, the right capacity and capability, that they have the right skills and attitude. And if not, have a plan on how to acquire them. Make sure you win the hearts of the people first. Then you can go ahead and win the minds as well. Finally, it is an organizational change program. It is not a methodology project. Make sure you apply best practices of program management to achieve the outcomes and the desired benefits. And with this slide, I'd like to close my presentation, sharing with you some additional PM Squared and PM Squared Alliance resources, and open the floor for your questions, but also your insights. I'd be happy to answer as many as I can, both synchronously through our chat and asynchronously through email. Thank you for your participation.